This is Kardec Radio bringing to you the book Among Brothers of Other Lands, written by several spirit authors and psychographed by Chico Xavier and Waldo Vieira. This partial audio recording will cover Chapter 5, 20 Subjects with William James. Enjoy. Chapter 5, 20 Subjects with William James, by André Louise. Taking into account the specific cultural environment of the Spiritist movement in the USA and Brazil, below we present 20 questions that were directed to Dr. William James, the eminent American physician, psychologist, and philosopher who departed in 1910. The interview was held on the night of his visit to our prayer and spiritual assistance group. Question: Dear friend, being in New York for a visit among Brazilian friends, we would like to know if the research of truth still continues to receive your collaboration. Answer: Yes, after death we continue to follow the same line of activity that we had on earth during the last physical experience. If these activities reveal edifying aspects that are able to dissipate the past mistakes we accumulated during previous reincarnations, we should not hesitate to continue broadening them as much as possible, using every resource at our hand. Question: Do you have the same enthusiasm for the study of Spiritism as before? Answer: Without a doubt, the principles of the new revelation are a field of infinite possibilities. Question: What do you think about the use of science in Spiritist matters? Answer: Today, I understand the importance of science to settle the question of survival of the soul. However, at the same time, I realize that many investigators, with rare exceptions, waste time repeating experiments exhaustively, trying to find a way out of the ethical aspects related to the subject. Question: Do you believe that we should establish boundaries to the scientific cooperation in the circles of Spiritist studies? Answer: I do not wish to affirm that the scientific research isn't required. I would rather propose that the researcher can hardly avoid the duty of listening to one's own conscience. A wise person isn't merely a recorder of technical terminology, but rather a spirit endowed with advanced knowledge, which is called by the superior order for the improvement of life. Question: What do you think about parapsychology? Answer: Formally, parapsychology can be traced back to the beginning of humankind. The Bible itself contains several examples, as in the second book of Kings, chapter 6, verse 12, when the prophet or medium Elisha reads the mind of the king of Syria, just like the best subjects of Rhine's experiments and others. Question: What do you think about the Spiritist collaboration in the parapsychological research? Answer: Whenever possible, Spiritists must cooperate with the developments of parapsychology so that this discipline shouldn't fall on the hands of fanatic minds, whether they come from science or religion. However, Spiritists should help with no loss to their commitment and lines of action. Question: How do you define the position of the Spiritist knowledge on earth? Answer: The equilibrium of the moral personality requires the purest Spiritist knowledge, just as the best organic state requires the healthiest nourishment possible. Question: Can you expand your definition of the Spiritist knowledge? Answer: The Spiritist knowledge is the orientation for the deep and the essential life of the being. Obviously, evolution is the law for every creature, but Spiritism operates on the conscious level by dictating rules of behavior that successfully trace a straight path for the soul. In this way, the mazes of illusion that correspond to suffering are avoided. Question: Do you believe that Spiritism can play a decisive role in the conduct of the will? Answer: In a perfect way. Without freely fulfilling the requirements of the evolution principles represented by life's duties, the reincarnation of the spirit is merely a repetitive process in which the spirit profits poorly throughout the millennia. Question: what can you tell us about mediumship? Answer: mediumship is wrongly appreciated today on Earth. One day it will play an important role in people's lives by providing an access gate of the embodied personality to the superior spheres. Question: do you believe a medium should receive adequate instructions? Answer: we protect the mustard to maintain its normal production. How to improve mediumship and keep it worthy without the help of education? Question: can more advanced spirits easily overcome the deficiencies of mediumship? Answer: discarnate benefactors can carry out constructive works of the highest standard in the world, but they require elements of interpretation. An orchestra could hardly make music without the help of instruments. Question: does a spirit that belongs to the highest hierarchy depend on mediumship to express itself on the physical plane? Answer: until science establishes a free and generalized interchange between incarnate and discarnate intelligences, the spirit dwelling in the beyond will depend on the medium to communicate with individuals, as the soul plunging into the physical sphere requires a mother. Question: would it be correct to rely on well-developed mediums to form outstanding centers for the demonstration of survival? Answer: we cannot overlook the fact that the mediumistic resources are conferred to all human beings, who apply the resources in accordance with their individual level of evolvement. If the medium improves oneself, one will attract evolved spirits. To sustain the excellence in this matter is the same as to feed disputes over the ownership of psychic domains. Question: we know that the medium has the duty to perfect oneself. Besides that, what is the fundamental requirement in the development of one's faculties? Answer: the development of the psychic energies isn't difficult for the majority of mediums. However, since such improvement broadens new horizons of human association, the hardest problem of a medium is, in my view, to stay loyal to the good companions of the spirit world. Question: how do you analyze the intellectual and physical mediumship? Answer: every mediumistic faculty is important, but I believe that, without correct discretion, physical mediumship may hardly improve our inner world. On the contrary, I understand that intellectual mediumship, by accessing superior knowledge, should be widely cultivated, so that physical mediumship should not morally confuse the creatures provisionally attached to the physical world. Question: what do you believe is the main task of mediumship in the Spiritist work? Answer: concerning the present society, I believe that mediumship is a call to the enlightenment of people, being especially useful in obsession occurrences that amount to thousands in every part of the world. Question: is the spoken language a decisive communication factor among discarnates living in a certain country through mediums situated in different countries? Answer: we know that thought is a universal language. However, this is an immediate reality under well-trained telepathy. One can calm down a sick person by the mental suggestion of ideas of peace and optimism, cure and hope, but it will be very difficult to convince the sick person regarding treatment without using one's own language. On the other hand, xenoglossy may be obtained very easily, as if by order. We must understand that, in the present stages of human development, language barriers are an inevitable limitation, since incarnates are tightly bound to their home environment. In this way, spirit friends living in the United States should learn Portuguese to communicate with their neighbors in Brazil and vice versa. This is an obvious need in the common system of linguistic communication, since progress doesn't know miracles. Question: when do you believe Spiritism will be better known on the earth? Answer: that depends on time and the goodwill of people. Any creature can delay his or her access to the gate of truth, but none can flee from it. Question: Do you have a last word to the Brazilian fellows, both discarnate and incarnate, working in the spiritist fields of action? Answer: we have learned that sound and steady buildings don't come by improvisation. The spiritist work requires plantation of spiritist principles. And there is no efficient plantation without dedicated farmers. We should broaden our area of help and elevate the level of understanding toward our responsibilities in the spiritist work. If we only do what we wish, we will own that which we do. The laws of the universe are fair. I believe we can summarize the main rules of work in the following program: to feel with self-control, to think with elevation, to speak constructively, to study always, and to serve more. New York, USA, July 27, 1965.